Hey guys, what's up? This is Brett. Welcome to the first Friday on the Turntable of 2014. Happy New Year. Hope everyone out there had a great holiday season. Instead of focusing on one album, today I'm going to do a theme, and the theme is going to be excellent title tracks. You know, albums that have a song with the same name as the album title. Pretty obvious, and there are some great ones out there. I was going through my collection. Well, first off, I was on a road trip over the holidays. Had a rather sad ending to the year, and I was in California driving home, and had a playlist that I made a couple of years ago, and it was of title tracks from albums. And so as I was listening, I thought this would make a great video. Plus, it's always one that people can join in on because everyone has favorites of their own. So I'm gonna just get into it, and I chose 14 in honor of the new year 2014. So I put these in chronological order, starting with the oldest ones. And before I start that, there's also this interesting phenomena of albums, of songs that are an album, that are named after an album, but actually don't appear on that album. They appear on a subsequent album. Like, for example, The Doors' "Waiting for the Sun," which wasn't on "Waiting for the Sun," but appeared on the next album, Morrison Hotel, or maybe it was even a couple albums after that, I think. And then another example would be Led Zeppelin's "Houses of the Holy," which didn't appear on "Houses of the Holy," but appeared on Physical Graffiti. So there's that weird phenomena there as well. So let's get things started off here. This is Frank Sinatra, "Strangers in the Night," and seriously, such a great album cover. This was his from 1966. And the title track was actually written by Bert Kaempfert, a German songwriter who actually also wrote Dankeschön, which was made really popular by Wayne Newton, which thus appeared in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So anyways, excellent title track from Frank Sinatra, 1966, "Strangers in the Night." One that's just phenomenal. I remember hearing this when I was a kid and just loved it. The opening song on the album, Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath, from their debut album from 1970, with that really distinctly evil sounding flat fifth note that's hit in there in that opening riff, and then how it just goes into that galloping da 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 da. Just killer. Black Sabbath's Black Sabbath. Speaking of the Doors, there was a couple choices I could have taken on this one, but I went for "LA Woman" from their final album, 1971. Such a great track. Clocks in at almost 8 minutes. Has several movements to it. Yeah, the Doors. Proto-punk, classic. Iggy and the Stooges, raw power. Such a great lo-fi track. Roz Williams from Christian Death did an excellent cover of that on his little EP that he recorded and released in the early 90s called Daucus Carota. Worth seeking out. A really cool version of that one. A really obvious one here that is just such a great song, been covered by lots of people, but Pink Floyd's "Wish You Were Here" from their follow-up to "The Dark Side of the Moon," 1975. Great guitar solo, just an excellent chord progression, everything about it. It's just an emotional track. Yes, Pink Floyd. This song is always on a playlist for a road trip. This and Thunder Road. Yeah, but I'm going to go with "Born to Run," Bruce Springsteen from 1975. What a track. High energy. Love the lyrics, the emotion to it. It's excellent. Bruce Springsteen's "Born to Run." This next artist, I could have chose several. Aladdin Sane, Diamond Dog, Station to Station. There was plenty to choose from, but I chose "Heroes" because it's just so iconic, so emotional, and such a beautiful song from 1977, the year of Bowie's extreme, what's the word I'm looking for? Busyness, prolificity, where he recorded just several albums that year. All right, now we're in the 1980s. Cannot leave this one out because it is the 1980s version well, I should say it's the 1980s Prince's version of Jimi Hendrix's Little Wing. It's that beautiful and that memorable, the guitar part, and that is Purple Rain. From Prince and the Revolution's Purple Rain. Just the guitar part, it's reminiscent of Jimi Hendrix's Little Wing. And it's just an amazing song. Great guitar solo, chord progression, just beautiful choices of chords. Yeah. Following year, 1985, another band. I was going to choose a different song, but I went with the Smiths' Meat is Murder. I was going to pick Queen is Dead, but Meat is Murder. What a powerful message in that song. What with the spooky sounds of the farm animals, and it is just such an eerie song. And great. I saw Morrissey perform that. I think it was back in sometime in the 90s, and I remember him just laying down on stage during the song. And it was just, yeah, what a track, what a band. Just finished reading Morrissey's autobiography, and it was just great. I remember being a teenager and going into Kmart and seeing these little pictures above their cassette and record section. And when you look at it now, being an adult and being probably, 15 years older than they were back then, they look like kids. But this is Metallica's And Justice for All, and I could have easily picked Master of Puppets. But little representation here for Jason Newsted, his first album with the band, and who was pretty much mixed out of the recording because the bass is really pretty non-existent on this recording. But yeah, their fourth album from '88, the first one without Cliff Burton. Almost a 10-minute track, really great. Metallica. Here's a little one more obscure. I know I've talked about this band several times, but this is Shelling Orphan, British band. This was their second album. From 1989, Century Flower. Beautiful orchestral instruments. Maybe I could reference it as something like Baroque pop. Upright bass, oboes, just beautiful vocals from Carolyn Crawley, who later went on to sing in a few tracks with This Mortal Coil. I know she did a Syd Barrett cover on there, but glorious. I love this album. And yeah, Century Flower. A couple more. Going hand in hand, because that band actually was the opening act on some of the dates for this band's Disintegration tour, or what was it called back then? Prayer Tour? Yeah. Cure's Disintegration. This is the reissue, the double one. But the title track, Disintegration. Another band, The Cure, is just indicative of title tracks, and they did a whole run from their first album all the way through the top, where the closing song on each album was the title track. And then they kind of broke away from that. But the title track on Disintegration is this, I think it's about over 8 minutes long, and it just starts with this it's like a boom, and it kicks in. It's aggressive in the Cure's way. And I remember we had a club here in Scottsdale called the Atomic Cafe that my band Audra used to play at all the time. We used to go dancing there. And when they a friend of ours who owned it, he passed away. And on the club's closing night, the DJ actually played the song Disintegration as the end of that club's existence. So it was very fitting, and a great track from The Cure. 1993, another band. I was going to choose October since it's such a great little piano piece, but I went with U2's Zooropa, the opening track from their quite experimental album from '93, followed Achtung Baby very closely by about 2 years. And the song, lyrically, it has a lot of almost like catchphrases from commercials and stuff, and it is just such an interesting piece of music. And if I remember correctly, they performed it live when I saw them last. But yeah, excellent track, and I love the Zooropa album. All right, I got one more here to make it 14, and I'm going to show a couple CDs, which is going to push it over, but I want to show those because there's a couple interesting choices here. One of my favorite bands of all time, you guys know that, James, Hey Ma, their 2008 return after they took a long breakup hiatus. They got the original 7 guys back, well, not quite the original, but the core 7 guys from the band, with Andy Diagram on trumpet. But the title track, Hey Ma, which is a war song, and it is. Oh, I can't recommend it enough. It is such an amazing song. I was listening in the car, and it's so emotional, and really with a really intense message. So that's James. Hey Ma. 2 CDs, and then I'm out of here. How about Slayer's Seasons in the Abyss? You know, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people choose Rain and Blood as their favorite Slayer, but I don't know. I remember when this title track, Seasons in the Abyss, came on MTV Headbangers Ball, where they're performing in front of the pyramids, and it's just such a... I always think of that. It's my favorite Slayer song, and from my favorite Slayer album. It's just killer. And lastly, Placebo's Without You, I'm Nothing. Wish I had this on vinyl. That super hard to find, but great band. Their most recent album, which came out in 2013, was in the top 3 of my favorite albums. But this was from their second album, Without You, I'm Nothing. Just a great track, and there's actually a live version that they perform with David Bowie, so just a great track. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you guys think. Some favorite title tracks of your own. I mean, there's so many of them out there. I chose, 16? So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll talk to you soon.